Welcome back to The Author's Edge. I know why you're here because you're like, I am sick of trying to do everything myself. It's too much. I have a full-time job and a full-time life. And now, not only are you relying on social media to promote your book, but if you're only relying on social media to build your brand, promote your book, get people to your events, you're not just missing the mark. I'm sorry, but you're missing the moment. Because the real deal is that the algorithms don't build relationships. Social is about awareness. You're just getting in front of people like, I'm doing this. But email is about relationships because someone has to lean in and say, I want this. So they're asking for it. And if you're not using email, you are essentially asking for somebody's number and then not calling them. Have you ever gone out and thought, oh, they're going to call me. I really like them. And back when you were dating, like when I was dating, when the dirt was new, that was when I was on the market. And then they ask you for your number and you give them your number and then they never call. It stings. Don't be that for your book or your speaking career if you are offering someone the opportunity to get emails from you, to get updates, to get tips or a guide, and you don't send email, you're a jerk. It's not nice. Most people treat their email list like it's a last minute check the box or a place to send quote unquote newsletters that no one reads. But when it's used right, email marketing is one of the tools that has the highest return on the investment that you have access to grow your audience, to launch your book, to make real sales, to provide proof that you are the badass that I know you are. That's why Abby Combs is here. I'm so glad Abby's here because she runs a business that supports brands, that turns subscribers into buyers. She's breaking down today how authors and experts can use the same principles to write smarter email sequences, nurture real connection, and sell without being salesy because no one wants to be sold to. Plus, she's super charming. She runs on sunshine and Diet Coke and a sixth sense for what your audience actually wants. So in this episode, she's going to give us a download about what makes email marketing works. Abby, thank you. I'm so glad we met and that we're doing this.
I'm so excited to be here. You gave a lot of really amazing analogies. I'm like, you should be my saleswoman for me. I've never
And
heard it described as dating, and that is exactly what it is. So yeah, I'm excited to be here and chat and break it all down.
first, before we start and get into everything, most people who become authors, they'll probably write one book. Most people who write a book write one book. But the people I work with might write one or two, or they might have published a book with a university press, but now they have a big traditional press. And they're still doing their full-time job. They're still running HR at a global corporation, or they're still a neurosurgeon, or they're still patients in their therapy practice. So they're not used to sending about themselves. And all they know is that the email they get from Hollister with the daily sales is a bother. And they let them go straight to spam where they keep them in case there's a coupon. And I'm just saying Hollister because I was there yesterday with my daughter who needed shorts that are made of sweatpants material. I don't know.
Yeah, and they're all wearing sweats now. I don't know.
You know what? I love it.
Blame them.
Yeah, I love, first of all, be comfortable. When I was her age, the trend was Jordache jeans as tight as you could possibly make them. and you would take them off and you knew they were the right size if the seam had made a wrinkle in the side of your leg.
An indent?
Yes, and it would
That's
stay
so
there for a
funny.
while. Ooh, that's the right size.
That's it.
Now the trend is super baggy sweatshirts. Love it.
Yes,
Super
yes.
baggy sweatpants. Love it.
Yeah. If we see
And
no shape to the body, that's the right size. Yeah.
and the other trend is massive skincare.
Yeah.
My daughter and her daughter's friends have just peaches and cream. Like,
I know.
nobody has
No,
pimples, anything.
I know.
They
I'm at the age where I'm asking my daughter, like, what do we use foundation? Is that a thing anymore?
no.
And we're not wearing eyeshadow. Okay, so what are we doing? And thank
Right.
heavens I have this 15-and-a-half-year-old that's filling me in.
It's just about lip gloss, but the lip gloss it's just clear.
Yeah, barely there. We're doing barely there makeup, and I actually love it, and I've had to rewire my brain that I don't need to be a full face of makeup every time I show up anywhere, and I feel really exposed, but it's been really good exposure therapy probably. Self-confidence. I'm like, if she
Exactly.
can
It's all
do
about
it.
the eyebrows now. It's like full brows. Getting back into I know everyone's getting emails from Sephora
Yeah,
and Hollister, and we're used to that, but we see those as sales because they are sales.
right.
Those are not relationship builders because Hollister is not a person. I
Right,
don't
and they have their own dedicated IP address, which us small business owners don't, and so they get to play by their own rules. We do not play by those rules. We have our own set of rules. We play in our own park that's blocks away from what they're doing. So
right.
they have a huge budget behind them, and they don't care. They don't care if you unsubscribe. Don't
Yeah.
care if you put them in junk and spam because their opportunity is so much larger than ours. However, they are training the mass majority of the audience on how to consume content and information. So, as a small business owner, which you all are if you're going to write a book, then we have to watch what they're doing to take notes and to play with what they're doing. And how do we take some of it that works for us and follow those trends? One example that I see that I could also see a lot of your audience not following is the big box stores. If you remember Hollister or Sephora, they're sending mostly pictures. In fact, Free People has some of my favorite emails because it's like window shopping every time you open their email. But they're sending mostly images and pictures and things that are moving. And they want them in to look at that email for 2 seconds at most, maybe three, and then click somewhere to get out of that email. A lot
Oh.
of small business owners are sending only text emails. And they're sending these long paragraphs, especially if you're an author. You're going to
Ugh.
be really used to sending lots of words. And I
The
get it.
large word email?
I get it. It makes sense. It's what you're used to. It's what's comfortable. You have so much you want to communicate. Also, if you're only sending one email a month or one email a year, then you've got a lot to communicate. And so you think that you should put all of it in an email. And if you're going to do that, don't do emails. Do not do text heavy emails because nobody has the time. I think also what happens is these small business owners forget that they're a consumer too. You are a consumer of emails. So, how do you like to consume emails? And are you the type that reads and reads emails? Then great. But is your audience that way? Possibly. You could be attracting an audience that loves to read, especially being in the author space. However, we're still being trained that when we open our inbox on our phone or our computer, it's just quick information. We're either there for work, we want to get out of there as fast as possible, or we're there to consume and we want to get out of there as fast as possible. So we've really got to watch what you're putting in emails. And the good news is that it relieves the pressure of having to write these 17-page long emails. Leave that for a book. If you can write 17-page long emails, write another book and then do graphic heavy emails to promote your brand. So yeah, we don't play by the rules of the big box stores. We learn from them. They are great teachers. We let them train the audience and then we follow along like little ducklings.
Perfect. So when it comes to email marketing, when people think they're starting an email list, they learn they have to have an email service provider.
Yeah.
Because if you're working as a park ranger, that's not your job. Like, you don't
Right.
have a brand. And if you're writing a environmental stewardship book, everything is new.
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
you're not behind. You're just been busy doing the thing that makes you freaking awesome.
Yes. Yeah.
Let's just take that white noise out of the equation because that's
Mhm.
not the problem. The problem becomes because you're busy and you know that you only check your email once a week.
Mhm.
And when you do, you're just skimming for what actions do I need to take. But then you think, I don't want to bother people. So I'll tell them ahead of time when I ask them to sign up for my emails. Problem number one, they'll only get updates from me once a month because I don't want it to bother them. Problem number two, nobody ever thinks, I'd like to sign up for emails. I'd like to sign up for snail mail or robocalls.
Yeah.
No one does that. They're just thinking, I would like you to send me some of your goodness. Whatever the
Yes.
flowers, whatever the tip of the day. The cat, if you have one of those like Taylor Swift cats that are interesting looking, send them that if that's your jam. Listing out the format that the tip comes in is not what people want. Yes, they are agreeing that you will send them information via email, but the email is not the draw. So stop using
Right.
her language.
That is so smart, and that's my, like, number one thing. So I do a lot of email audits. So brands will come to me, and then I'll take a look at what they're doing, what they're not doing, and give them feedback. And one of the first things I say is, "Nobody actually cares about you. Nobody cares about your email. What they care is what's gonna be in the email." And that's why when people come to me for email marketing, we start with a strategy session because I need to know, who are you? What are you offering? And really, the question you should be asking yourself is, what problem do I solve? And with writing a book, you're solving a problem. It could just be providing information, providing clarity on a topic, letting them escape their current world and go into another world. Whatever the problem you're solving is, there is so much to that we can play off of with your emails. And yeah, we have to be incentivized to join an email list because everyone has an email and we're getting so many emails that they want to know what's going on. So yeah, stop saying, "Join my email list and I'll send you an email." No shit. They're gonna of course you're gonna send them an email. A lot of people do this, a lot of like clothing brands or shopping brands will say, "Join and get 10% off on your first order," or "Join the email list and you'll get early access to all of our drops that sell out every time." So there's got to be an incentive for them joining your email list. And if you don't know what that should be, then answering that question of what problem am I solving hopefully will allow your brain to go through some creative ways of how are we solving that problem 16 times over.
Awesome. Okay, so we got that out of the way. Now, when authors, when their book isn't yet out and they're a year before the book comes out, they know they have a book deal, they know it's coming out, or they are looking for a book deal, but they still know that they need to create a conversation via email.
Mhm.
What should they be emailing about?
Yeah, great question. Everyone asks me that. And then the follow up question is, how many emails should I send? If I knew the magic number, I would be buying an island and not being on this podcast, and I would just be laying on the beach drinking my Diet Coke for sure. So there's not a magical number, but there's guidelines. So we'll go through that. And what do you email about? So I had a thought pop into my head. Oh, I was going to say that we have to back up to the beginning of anyone listening that's wanting to write a book or has written a book and wherever they are. But like it or not, you are creating a brand. And I know you're not used to that, and it's not maybe necessarily your forte. Um, and you don't know what you're doing, and that's okay. We already established you are new to this, and we're all figuring it out. But trust me, I've worked with multi-million-dollar brands that are still trying to figure things out. But you are creating a brand, and I would get really curious around what that brand looks like for you. That question again, what problem are you solving is my favorite one to ask because when we start to think of that, we get really creative. And when we're creative, we can think through all the things that we want and what we want to build. And so when you think about your book, think about the people who are reading your book and the lives that you want to change. Are you going to solve world hunger? No. But are you going to change somebody's life? Possibly. Is it going to be a massive change? I don't know. But probably you're going to have influence on them. And so I would really think about who that person is and how do they spend their day? What time do they wake up in the morning? What do they do in the afternoon? Do they drink coffee? Do they not drink coffee? Are they married? Are they not married? Do they have children? Male, female? All of those questions you need to answer, take into consideration to determine what kind of brand you're creating. Once we have that, then really knowing what emails to send becomes a lot easier. So we want to create a balance and a good cadence of emails that provide a lot of value. So this would be really centered around the content that you're writing or creating or the
Yeah.
influence that you want to have. And we need to sell. So even if you're a year out or more from the book launching, I still think it's important to do email marketing. I don't know that you need to do as much as you will when you launch your book and after launch. And also, picture this. What if you started now creating a brand and really understanding that ideal customer or ideal reader and providing value to them, and you build an email list of 1,000 people. And then you're continuing those conversations and building trust and creating relationships. Then you launch your book and you have 1,000, or let's call it 20%. You have 200 people who are ready to buy your book. Could you imagine having 200 people just want to buy when you say it's ready? That's the power that you have by creating a brand,
And
providing value, that it makes selling so much easier. And you don't have to come out and say, please buy my book. It's going to be so great. Nobody actually wants that. You're going to have already created a relationship and established authority within your area of expertise that, of course, they're going to buy their book. That's like a no-brainer at that point because they know and love and trust you, that the purchase is easy. And at that point, you could sell anything. So if you want to leave your corporate job or you want to leave what you're currently doing and eventually run this brand full time, you have the option to do so because you have a brand and an audience surrounding you. And all it took was you just deciding who you want to work with and what the value that you have and just talking to them, right? So
right.
I would really focus on that cadence of let's provide a lot of value, which comes from understanding your ideal customer and your audience. And then also we have to sell and we have to send the ask. And it can be very simple. Some ways to get comfortable with providing the ask or the offer is to ask them to go read something on a blog or click and look through this gallery of photos. Link here to go watch this video that I thought was really interesting. Get them to go do something. It doesn't have to be spending money, but training them to go do something from your emails will be really great practice for when it's time to actually spend money.
Ooh, good tip. Yikes. Now, can you talk about the difference between an email and a newsletter? Because a lot
Yeah.
of people think, I want to provide value. I think I'll have it be a newsletter and then it's long. So it's not one topic, it's a couple of things and different sections. And how should people use one versus the other?
Yeah. Great question.
And
So,
please describe how they're different.
yeah, I think you're saying I'll go over a few different kinds of emails. How about that?
Yes.
And I love and hate the word newsletter. I sometimes call them campaign emails. We
Yeah.
also have automation emails or funnels. You've heard like click funnels or flows. And so there's two buckets. You have the campaigns or the newsletters that you create weekly, monthly, and send out manually to most, if not all of your list. And then you have automations that you build and you tell your email platform who to send it to from what behaviors they exhibit. Now, anyone who's brand new to emails, this is going to confuse you and make you a little overwhelmed. Don't worry about automations yet or hire somebody. This is when you call me and you hire me to build out all the backend automations. We do
Yes.
projects all the time. We build it for you. We work through your strategy, and then things are there in the background. An example of an automation would be a welcome series, we call it, which you've all subscribed to probably hundreds, if not thousands of welcome series. So when you go to Hollister and you are on their website looking for something and something pops up and says, hey, get 10% off or 20% off your next order, you put your email in and then automatically it gets an email into your inbox that says, thanks for joining. Here's your code, right? That is the beginning of a welcome series. That is on the automation side. And so you can build that to be basically a set it and forget it that's already built
Mhm.
and created, and it works for the most part year round. So there's some back-end automations that you'll want based on behavior so that you don't have to constantly be managing it. Then your campaigns or your newsletters. I love and hate the word newsletter because everyone
Me
knows what
too.
that is. So I use that word a lot, but it also has this connotation that it's just a bunch of text on a screen all about the business owner or the brand and nothing to do with me, right, as the consumer. And
Yeah.
so that's why we don't love the word newsletter. Campaign emails are similar. And so really the core of a newsletter is just basically a monthly, it could be weekly, it could be quarterly, consistent communication that's what's going on with the brand. And depending on your audience, they might want that, they might not. So you're going to have to do some testing. If anyone knows anything about marketing, it's a game of testing. So know that you're going to try things and it's going to fail, but you're going to learn something and then adapt to the next thing. The other ways that we use campaign emails is to sell, right? To showcase something and ask for a purchase. So newsletters, I'm trying to think of your original questions about newsletter. I'm just gonna
The
use the
thing is
full.
an email can be you don't even have to scroll down to see the end of it. It's
Mm.
like a glimpse, it's a couple lines, it's even the email that I send to let people know about this episode. It's one topic, and
Yes, yes, okay.
there might be a couple of buttons in there of listen now or go here to watch on YouTube, but it all goes to the same thing. It's
Yes.
it might be 2 or 3 hot links, but they go to the same place.
Yeah.
I've seen beautifully done newsletters, but they have kind of sections of, "Here's what's going on with
Mhm.
me. Here are the events I'll be at. Here's a podcast I'm loving." And no matter how beautiful they are, or like musings on summer, like, I don't email is not where I want to get that kind of content from someone, and this is my personal thing, is when someone does that, they usually only send it once a month. So it does feel like it's comprehensive in a way that it didn't need to be. Like,
Gotcha.
why save up all your musings?
Yeah.
Spoon feed them to me. I don't want
Yes.
one big entree. Like, that's why everybody loves chips and salsa, because it's just one
It's easy.
one chip at a time. Like, I
Yeah.
don't want the platter of enchiladas today. Just chips and salsa is good. So
Yeah.
think of emails as the chips and salsa, and a newsletter is like the total entree with the side of
Yes.
guac and it's just so much. And oftentimes I'm thinking that would be good if you wanted to start a Substack, because then people could
Yes.
lean in and know that they're essentially
Yeah.
asking for an article or
Yeah.
something deeper, or start a LinkedIn newsletter,
Yep.
which is awesome because it's has so many SEO tools behind
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend a LinkedIn newsletter
Yeah.
because the titles are SEO enabled. But back to the email. So the email versus newsletter is, I think it's the biggest, it's one of the two big problems that I see people have. One is getting over the hump of, am I going to send people emails? Is two, of what's the format going to be? And they think it has to be something super substantial. Something small can be substantial.
Yes, no, I love that, and I love the analogy of chips and salsa because you get just full enough that you don't eat your whole meal, and it satisfies the craving and the hunger right then, but you really can never get completely stuffed off of chips. At least I can't.
I know.
I would highly recommend your emails be chips and salsa. And if you have enough content for a newsletter that it's 6 sections long, that should be at least 3 emails. So that's the good news is if you're going to jam pack this newsletter with 7 different sections and topics, you actually probably just created 3 to 5 different emails. So now
Yeah.
you don't have to even come up with anything for the month, right?
Yeah.
So I think if you have that much in your brain that you can share every month, then you can easily do email marketing. And we want to give them enough content that they're intrigued, that they want to click to do something else, but we don't want to overwhelm them unless you have a very loyal audience, that is eating up everything that you give them, they can never get full, then sure, go ahead and give them an entree every time. But I would agree there's other places that you could do that. And if you have an audience that captivated, then you could be monetizing that through Substack and have them pay to get that content, especially those of you that have a specific profession that you have extreme knowledge in. People want to have access to that and they don't want to have to go schedule an appointment somewhere to work one-on-one with somebody for 30 minutes or an hour and pay who knows how much to get that information when they would pay $6.99 or $12.99 or 20, whatever it is, every month to get that information delivered straight to their
Right.
inbox. And it's a way that you can scale your brain, right? So if you're a neurosurgeon and you have content that we all need, and we need to learn about I mean, everyone wants to know about their brain and learn more and how can we manage it now? There's an opportunity where you could really brain dump once a month and spread that over 3 to 5 emails and send that out, and you could monetize it. That analogy really is, if you think that this would be the whole enchilada, then take out 40 or 60% of it and just send the 40%.
Yes. I love the whole enchilada as well.
Same.
Some parts I just love the chips and salsa. Okay,
Yeah.
you hinted at something, and I want to ask you, tell me what to do, because this is really, when we met, I actually sat in on one of your workshops at the Mom 2.0 Summit, and I was in the room. I came in late. I was hobnobbing in the hallway, and I came in late, and I sat down, and I heard you talk for 1 minute, and I was like, oh my God, this woman is the tits. You're the real deal. You are the shiz. You were lobbing prescriptive, do this, not that, to everyone in the room. And the side conversations of, wait, what did she say? Wait, I'm not supposed to do that. No, I don't need to do. Oh, but like, you were blowing people's minds. And these were people who knew about email and they understood, but people need to know a little bit more.
Yeah.
One of the things that, after I tackled you in the hallway and we have to be friends. And you said the way that you set up emails is you use images. So you mentioned it before, using images, but I find that it's not the writing of the email that is the difficult thing. I can vomit into my voice memo, look at the transcript, edit that, and I have the text. It's the putting it into my email service provider and like making it look good. And you'd think, cut and paste, Allison. Right. I do that. I do cut and paste. But then no matter what, the formatting is weird, or some of the words are a different size than the others, even though I cut and paste from a Google Doc. So I don't understand what gremlins are in the machine. But you have a solution for that. So please tell me and everyone what to do.
Okay, yeah. I think I know what you're asking, so I'll give you how we do it. I
Okay.
will start by saying I am not a designer. That's just not my creative talent. My creative talent comes in the form of calendaring and scheduling and planning. It's really fun for me, but the like typical creative, what we think about of these artists and being able to design stuff, that is not in my wheelhouse, which is why I have a team and they do all of that first for my clients. But also, I realize that's not a strength of mine. And so there is a power in hiring that out. Do what you do best. And for those that are listening, what I'm knowing about you is that you have an amazing brain and access to knowledge and information that you want to put out in the world. I think you should stay in that seat, and there's a power in hiring it out. Being said, there's a couple of platforms, email sending platforms that make it really easy to design. And they all come with pros and cons. And so I'll tell you one that makes it really easy to design, but doesn't allow you to do a lot of automations. And that's okay when you're first starting. So Flowdesk, and you can put this in the show notes, Flodesk, Flowdesk is a really great platform that's so easy to use. And they have beautiful, like 2025 version templates that you can just go in, pick what looks like beautiful to you, and throw in your content, and you're good to go. So that's one place to start. When you're wanting to get into a more robust platform, something like Klaviyo is what I love to use, their templates aren't as pretty. So you can use them, but you're going to have an eye for design. And I don't love their templates. And so we create our emails from scratch just in Canva. And a lot of people know how to use Canva now. The Pro is like $13 a month. It's very affordable. You're going to need it for your social media. You're going to need it for everything else on Canva. And how we create emails is we want to see the whole email in Canva, what it's going to look like. And we start with, there's a ratio already built in Canva for the Instagram stories. So Instagram stories already has it created. And in the top left corner, you can adjust the length of that image so that it's super long. You start with that and you can start to create your email in Canva. They have a lot of templates and graphics that are already created that you can use and play with it and put your content in. And then what we do is wherever there's a place to put a button, so something that you want them to click, we now crop the image to right under that button. So now what you'll have in Canva is several images long. And then you upload all of those into your email sending platform. And then once you upload it, it formats all really seamlessly so you don't see the chop. And then every image that you upload, you can link to wherever you wanted that button to link. So now you can have multiple links within a button.
Okay, I need you to slow down
I know.
for a
I'm like, I
second.
need to write down a tutorial.
Yes.
That size.
In
Okay.
fact, okay. So I just opened Canva while we were talking because when you
Okay.
told me that, my mind melted a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I was like, oh my gosh, this makes it so simple because I can copy and paste my Google Doc
Yes.
into this Instagram story and you adjust the length. So you make it like 3,000 pixels instead
Yeah.
of whatever it comes with. And since the link is only going to go to one place, you could just have one image if you want it.
Yes, you could, especially if it's going to one place. If you're wanting to link, let's say you're providing a really great newsletter or campaign email that's about several different articles of one topic, and you want to link multiple things, you're going to want to be able to chop things so that you can link, go to this article here, go to this article here,
Right.
and give them what they want so they have multiple options. But if they're all going to one place, then don't worry about any chopping.
And so when you do that, when I tried that out, I realized that you don't need to allow for margins within the Instagram story because the
Yeah.
email itself has margins. That is because I, of course, tested it and I was like, why is it so small? So I have two questions that are super practical. When you do this, what size font do you use for the text in
Oh,
the Instagram story?
good question.
Okay.
It
And
might
then,
depend, and also keep in mind for us, we're working with a lot of e-commerce brands, and so, there's not as much text, but there is some. So that the text size will change based on the design of the email. So let's try to highlight something at the beginning,
yeah,
especially your first section is your hero banner or hero image, that can be larger. And
yeah.
then into the body of the email, that should be a little bit smaller.
Okay.
And I can see if there's a common
So
text.
while you're doing that, usually the default email that pops up in my email service provider will say that the default is 16-point type and
Yeah.
it's sans serif, right? So when I did this in using your Canva Instagram story formula, I made it 16-point type. But when you import that image, it seems on the small side. So that's why I ask. And second question, when you download those images from Canva, what do you download them as? Because I was downloading them as a JPEG or a PNG, and somehow the text looks not as sharp,
Yeah.
like a little fuzzy. So I think I'm doing it wrong.
Yes. Okay. I'm just pulling up one of our emails, and literally within one small box, we have 3 different sizes. So the solution to what size is to test it. You can start with your 16, then import it, and there's a preview link when you're creating an email You should be able to preview it right on your screen. You also can send yourself a test email. I believe they're all free in every platform.
Yeah.
And you put in your own email address and have it come in your inbox and see how you like it. Everyone's going to have their settings a little different on the consumer side. So they might have their fonts or really the overall image will be larger on somebody's phone or desktop versus somebody else's. So I don't know that that matters as much as long as it plays the overall design and then it looks good to you and you can read it. Also, for example, a lot of my employees are in their early 20s, cute gals, and they would send me an email and I couldn't read it. And I'm like, I feel like I'm in my early 20s, but I'm not. And I just realized it because I can't read this. So just
Yeah.
have maybe a second set of eyes on things and know who your audience is. If your audience is young 20-year-olds, you might be able to get away with smaller fonts. If your audience is in their 50s or older, they're going to want a larger font. So really, I don't
Yes.
have an exact number. I would play with what the audience needs and how it looks on your phone and your desktop or laptop.
Ooh, that's a good tip. Make sure you look at it on your phone.
Yes, and you can in Klaviyo, which is a really robust email platform, you can see the mobile version. And in fact, a lot of platforms you can see the mobile
In
version.
Kajabi, you can do that too. I love
Oh, good.
Kajabi.
Good. Yeah,
Yep.
Kajabi is really great, especially if you're doing courses. Kajabi has a pretty decent email platform. So you can view that in mobile. You'll want to make sure you're optimized for mobile. Most audiences consume content on their phones. I've had a few
Yeah.
brands across the years that you would think their audience would be on their phones, would bet $1 million, and their data says that they're opening on their desktop, which plays a whole story, right? So watch your data and your analytics to see how that can help you make decisions, but for sure
Mhm.
optimize for mobile to see how that looks on your phone.
Okay. And
And
then
then you
the images
asked,
from Canva, you download as what?
so you download as, you should be able to do PNG, but if it's giving you some sort of error on sizing, I would download as an SVG.
Oh,
So
okay.
you could try that. And then also sometimes when you download as SVG, you'll have to resize, which you can easily do on your computer. You just change the sizing a little bit and then you can upload. So SVG or PNG should work. And I will double check with my optimization specialist and see if she recommends anything different. And then I'll message you and you can update the show notes.
So yeah, that's the thing. Like if you don't know all of the little steps, you might stop before you get success. So I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I did a test where I put text directly into the email
Yeah.
platform and
Yeah.
then the same text that I had imported with an image from Canva, and the text from the Canva image was a little bit faded.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as sharp.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe it has to do with the format that I was downloading.
Yeah,
Okay.
that could be it for sure. I love the idea of testing native text in an email as well. Sometimes that will help with deliverability. And that's the thing. We could spend hours talking about all the tiny things. My recommendation for everyone listening is just get started. And everything in business is going to eventually be really cringe. That's, what the cool kids are saying.
Yeah.
You're going to look back and be like, why did I send that email? That was so cringe. But you're going to learn something. So just get started. Even if you just get started and you are sending text heavy emails, at least you're going to get in the practice of sending them and not feeling like you're a quote unquote bother. People have asked to join your email list. They want to hear from you. Really build out what the value that you're providing to this audience and what problem you're solving. And then emails will be easy. And as you learn, you'll get better. And then as you grow, you'll end up hiring it out anyway. And then they'll worry about the intricacies of email marketing. You did not write a book to be an email marketing expert. You wrote a book to make change and influence. So stay in that seat and eventually hire out all the experts.
So smart. And yes. Now, I always ask this.
Okay.
What is a book that you are loving right now or that you can't wait to read?
Oh, okay. Well, I will say for me, I read to like escape and I'm not into like the fantasy dragon world yet. I'm curious. I'm intrigued, but I love a good romance. And so I read all of Colleen Hoover's books, and that has always really like, for me, honestly, like I used to scroll social media to kind of numb or, turn my brain off. And now it's such
Yeah.
a work thing for me that I've really turned away from that. And reading has become my like, I got to reset my nervous system and I'm going to read. And so I have had to have these just fun like very probably young adults, easy to read books. So
Yeah.
that's been fun for me. I read all of her books and then I've moved on to a very similar style, but I don't know the author, and that is so unfair to her. She has at least, I think, 4 books that I've read 3 of them. So that's been
Well, what
fun.
are they? You could just tell me the name of
Um,
them.
oh, and Evermine, like Always Mine. There's always a mine in it. Give
It's
them
the, like, small town romances? Is it the
yes,
Laura Pavlov books?
it
Okay.
might be.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
he's a
Small town,
hockey golden boy, and he's the man I've avoided for years. Yes, yes, yes.
Honey
I
Mountain. They live in Honey Mountain.
Yeah, that's exactly,
Yeah, it's
exactly.
been really fun. I'm like, wow, what a life.
Yeah, I love it. Oh my god, that's hilarious. I wanna end this by just asking you, what is one thing that everyone can do today to get a hold of their own email marketing?
I mean, I should say just send an email, but I do think it begins. I just meet so many business owners who are like, I don't even know where to start. And where you start is not in the email, it's creating your ideal customer and what problem you're solving. And use ChatGPT and pour your soul out to it and have it tell you what problem you're solving and give you ideas. And so, really utilize AI. So, I would get really clear on the value that you want to provide and the problem that you're solving. And then emails become easy and social media becomes easy.
So true. Abby, thank you so much for sprinkling your genius on us like rays of sunshine. We definitely need it. People overlook the tiny steps that actually can move you forward. And
Yeah.
that's why people avoid email because
Yeah.
it's like, what? I don't want to get all those emails. Well, you're not your reader.
Yeah.
Who cares what you like? When someone raises their hand and says, please send me some of your genius, are you going to be rude and withhold that? Don't be rude. Be
Don't be
awesome.
rude. Yes.
You have an edge here, and you're not bothering them if they're saying, please share with me, because that's what they really want.
Yeah.
Ugh,
And we all need help. We all need each other. And I think that's one thing I've learned is that we all need each other. And so somebody out there needs what information you have. You already have that information and other people don't. And so you have a gift that you need to share with the world and they want to know. Don't be a jerk and give us the info, give us the deets.
yeah, don't hold back. All right, people, you can leave Hollister now. And I know you've been sitting, hiding in the corner. You found a place to sit because I don't know if you realize, but stores in the mall do not have any places to sit. So you know where I sit? On one of the displays because screw you. You know, my daughter's going to be in the changing room for a good while, and there's no place for the mom, which is the person who holds the credit card. Okay, if you're a store manager, please, a bench would be great.
I
Otherwise, I
know.
will be sitting right up front next to the jean shorts. You can leave that place now and know that we're with you. And if this episode is helping you in the least, please leave a review and share the episode with someone who needs it. Or PS, someone whose emails you're like, I like them, but maybe they also could use their. Because
Yes.
everyone complains about email, but no one really knows the answer. And they think it's, oh, I bundle my work so that I can really dig into the email writing. Like, nobody wants to dig into the email writing. It
No,
sounds terrible. Yuck. No, thank you. Move on. I will take the chips and salsa every time.
every time.
Every time. All right. I will see you next week. In the meantime, please lean in to your edge as an author.